Brand new reporting on the various January 6th investigations. Punchbowl News reporting that the House Select Committee is now extensively cooperating with the DOJ Special Counsel Jack Smith. He's charged with overseeing investigations into former President Trump. Smith sent the committee a letter asking for all of their materials, a letter that Punchbowl News has reviewed. According to Punchbowl, starting last week, the committee started sending the special counsel's team documents and transcripts. I want to bring in Heather Cable, managing editor for Punchbowl. So Heather, what can you tell us here about the cooperation between the committee and the DOJ?
Well, I want to start by saying the cooperation is pretty significant. I mean, DOJ has asked for months for the panel to share its evidence. They've interviewed nearly 1,200 witnesses. They have hundreds of thousands of pages of documents related to Trump and his allies' efforts to potentially delay certification, prevent certification, the January 6th insurrection. And so for months, the January 6th committee has refused to cooperate with DOJ's probe. They've essentially stonewalled the Justice Department. And so for them to change their posture in the remaining weeks before the committee winds down its work and start sending some of these transcripts, sending evidence, sending text messages from former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, this is a pretty significant development as the panel prepares to send its final report tomorrow, release it, and wind up its work before Republicans take over the House.
So why now then?
I don't know, that's a great question. I think part of it is a lot of this evidence was going to be released in one way or another. As I said, the panel is preparing to wind up, so they are going to start, they'll put out their final report tomorrow, and then they are going to start releasing transcripts and other evidence as, the days go on, as they can produce these things. But a lot of that being said, I think, talking to people that are close to the panel and close to the decision that was made, they released a specific set of transcripts and interviews to DOJ because they wanted to point them in a specific direction before all of these hundreds of thousands of pages potentially came out. I think they wanted to say, here is a lot of the critical evidence that we have uncovered. Here's what we really think can help you in your investigation as it really heats up and gets underway. And here's what we want to point you to.
What does it tell you, since Punchbowl has reviewed the letter from the special counsel to the committee, of what the special counsel is requesting? What does that tell you about not only the breadth of their investigation, but maybe the point at which they are in the investigation?
So, I actually reviewed the letter, as we said in our report. The letter itself is not too long. It's just a few paragraphs. Special counsel Jack Smith, he sent it to the committee on December 5th, and it basically says, we want everything that you have, all documents, all transcripts of interviews, any other evidence. And it doesn't really shed any light into where the special counsel is in their probe or how far along that is. What we do know from other reporting that's come out recently is that, this special counsel is really working hard as it considers these investigations into former President Donald Trump. We saw two top White House lawyers testify before a grand jury earlier this month. There were several subpoenas that were sent to local officials and potentially involved in trying to overturn the election results in recent weeks. And so this is just one aspect of the special counsel's probe. But I think that, in terms of gathering evidence and witness transcripts and things like that, this could really help in terms of speeding the investigation along.
Got to be quick with you here on this, but the House panel also shared transcripts of interviews with several witnesses related to that fake elector scheme and the efforts by former President Trump and his allies to pressure states to overturn their election results, specifically in Georgia. What should we read into that?
I think that that's up for everyone, the viewers, to decide. But if I were looking at it, I would say that that's kind of an obvious focus of the special counsel probe. And we know that the special counsel has reached out to some of these same witnesses that were interviewed by the January 6th committee. And we'll probably be cross-checking what the witnesses said in their interviews with, any outreach that they've had.
Okay, Punchbowl managing editor Heather Cable, thank you so much. That's it for me today.